Hello and welcome to Soul Guidance with Adriana. I'm Adriana. I'm an intuitive reader and I am here for your growth. So this video I was inspired to make for anyone who is struggling with opening their heart chakra. Maybe it's too closed, maybe you find yourself being too judgmental or critical or perhaps even a little distrustful. So this may be something you're struggling with in the moment, or this may be a kind of habitual thing you struggle with. So I'm going to see if we can do a reading to shed a little more light on the subject, help you through this. I will also be creating an extended, which will go even deeper into what we uncover in the reading. Okay, so let's see. Can you give me the context and can you give me the lesson? I'm sorry, you know what? My guides are telling me to draw a different kind of spread. So I'm going to do a different kind of spread. So I'll tell you what it is at the end. All right. So our soul message here, of course, King of Cups, that open heart, that loving energy, and really mastering the flow, mastering knowing what relationships are, discernment in relationships. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, we're going to come back to this guy. Okay, Princess of Cups in the mind, a lot of watery energy. So this is really interesting. Six of Cups in the earth, Ace of Pentacles in the, Ace of Pentacles in the fire quadrant, and then the moon in the water quadrant, which is really interesting. So on one level, we're looking at someone who's starting a new relationship. You have the potential for a new relationship in front of you, and your soul is pointing you towards that relationship. It's pointing you, saying, hey, this is the right way to go. Now the rest of you is flip-flopping. The rest of you can't decide if you really want to go there. You're afraid that it's going to be like the relationships in the past. You're afraid that, you're just afraid of having all of those things come back up again. And we are looking at a lot of emotional baggage here. We are looking at a lot of emotional, I don't want to say dealings, but it's just, slow down, Adriana. It is emotionality that we're looking at. So we've got the Princess of Cups in the head. This is the doubt saying, it's too early. I'm not sure. I don't think this is the right way forward. And you're kind of back and forth. Then in the earth quadrant, you are seeing some elements of the past. You are seeing some things that look like the past, and that's kind of triggering your, I'm not sure if I should be doing this. I'm not sure if I should go this direction. But the biggest thing we have, the biggest problem we have here is the moon. That your emotions are being triggered in a way that makes you feel extra vulnerable. So this promise of a relationship, the newness, or even the thought of extending your heart, extending yourself, is triggering that feeling of either being helpless, being too exposed, being too open, and I also want to say being unsure. There's a lot of the feeling of I'm not sure how this is going to go. Now what you are learning is not necessarily, I'm going to see if that stops. Okay. What you're learning is not necessarily to go for this, but to discern. And the only way you can discern is through an open heart. And when you find yourself being excessively critical and judgmental, it's because you're afraid to open your heart. It's like you're trying to find excuses for yourself to keep your heart closed. Yeah, there's something wrong there. I can't open myself to it because it's clear there's something wrong. I'll get hurt again. Okay, done. Move on to the next. Yeah, but there's something wrong with her and I'll get hurt and blah, 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 blah. This is really popping forward for me if in a different way, and I'm not going to go into the specifics because you're sitting in front of me, but I don't know who exactly is sitting in front of me. This is connected a lot to your own moon sign in astrology. So if you know what your own moon sign is, then this has a big message. I'll give you mine just so you understand. I have a moon in Capricorn, which means that not only did I find myself taking heavy responsibilities on at a young age, too young an age, and often found myself being responsible for things way beyond what I was responsible for. There's a tendency with this placement to have a wound about that, to not want to take on more responsibility than necessary because there's a fear of being incapable. Because as a child, I was incapable of doing what was really asked of me, yet I did it anyway to be accepted. So the moon shows you where you're most vulnerable, where you're most afraid to step forward. And the resolution of that is not so much in what you're doing for other people, it's the way you're reacting back to yourself. So rather than being afraid of being responsible for other people and feeling like I'm going to fall short, I have to take more responsibility for myself. I have to deepen my willingness to take responsibility for myself. So let's say you have a moon in Aries, which is actually kind of the opposite problem. It's the fear that the self is always under attack, okay? And the fear that you always have to protect yourself. What actually will help you there is giving more protection to other people. Making sure other people feel protected, making sure other people feel safe. And in doing that, you're going to find more safety for yourself. Now, I could go through all the moon signs. Let me ask if there's any that I should talk about in particular. Let's do that, because this is really the crux of understanding this message. What's keeping you from opening your heart is issues hidden in your moon sign. What's keeping you from opening your heart is what makes you feel the most vulnerable. So where you feel you will fall short, that is what is preventing you from opening your heart. Do you know what? I think this is a little different than I had planned. I'm going to go through all the moon signs in the extended reading. So if you do know your moon sign and this is relevant to you, or you want to check out the moon sign for someone else, I'm going to go into that in the extended reading. The link is in the description below, and you'll be able to get the full information about your moon sign over there. Okay, let me ask for a final message to leave you with before we go over to that. Okay, 4 of Swords, 4 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 3 of Wands. Okay, it's time to stop looking out and start looking in. All right, we started this reading talking on the superficial level about, okay, a new opportunity, a new potential love is in front of you, and you're kind of not sure, right? But instead of worrying about, is this the right person? Is this the right choice? Am I going to miss an opportunity? Am I going to give away myself? Stop looking at that and start looking more at yourself. Start looking more at, okay, why is this vulnerability triggered? How can I make myself feel less vulnerable? How can I embrace that vulnerability in myself so I feel safe with myself? And then how can I use that vulnerability to present myself with more strength? Because it's with that strength that you want to be meeting this new opportunity, the Ace of Pentacles. You want to be presenting it with strength, not the how do I say this? Vulnerability always leads us to our strength. So ignoring your vulnerability isn't the way, but also being victim to your vulnerability isn't what you want to meet this other person with. This is where we make a lot of mistakes in relationships. We touch our vulnerability, we get comfortable with it, we understand what it is, but then it's like we take it out of ourselves and we hand it to the other person, and we say, this is your job now. Now you have to take care of this. Now it's your job to make me feel better by paying total attention to this. That's not really it. It's not their responsibility. It's ultimately your responsibility to know what it is and to be able to stand behind it and stand up for it. But it's not their job, okay? So that's why you have time. You have time to go inside, you have time to figure this out, and then you can present yourself with that vulnerability with strength, right? Not just the total victim vulnerability. Okay, I'm going to go into the moon signs and the extended, and I will also pull any other messages that want to come forward to help you. And if you want to find me over there, the link is in the description below, and I'll see you soon.